Hello everyone, this is Hemangi Shara. I welcome all of you on today's lecture of Introduction of Functional Analysis. First, let us try to understand the term functional. For that, please note that there is large difference between function and functional. During your Bachelor of Science, you all are playing with many types of function which are defined on a specific space. But here we are introducing a functional that is defined on a very special type of space. So first let us see what is difference between function and functional. So here we have given that the definition of function, which is one type of mathematical machine that accepts one or more numbers, or you can take alphabets as an input and produces a number or alphabet as an output. But in functional is also one type of mathematical machine, but here functional accepts one or more function as an inputs and produces output. So major difference between function and functional is what in inputs. In function, it accepts numbers or alphabets, but in function it accepts as an input one or more functions. So what is functional? Functional is function of function. Now we are going to learn some basic concepts for functional analysis. So first definition is matrix space. For that, uh, let us take some set X and define matrix D on set X. So the pair XD, the pair XD is called matrix space when there are four properties satisfy the matrix D. So first property is my matrix D is real valued, finite and non-negative. Second property is dxy is 0 if and only if x is equal to y. Third property is dxy is equal to dyx. This is also called as a symmetric property, which we are learning BSc uh, in chapter relation of Boolean algebra. And fourth is dxy is less than or equal to dxz plus dyz, dzy. So this property, fourth property, is also known as triangular inequality. uh, Here metric D is also called as distance function, right? So first example of matrix space is the real line R. So one can prove real line R is matrix space. So how you can prove that real line R is matrix space? So for that we have to define matrix D on the set R. We also know that real line R has a set of all real numbers, and I can define matrix D dxy as a modulus of x minus y. So I want to prove that this real line R with this matrix dxy is equal to modulus of x minus y is matrix space. For that I have to prove that my matrix D is satisfy these four properties. So let's prove. First property is D is real valued. Here you can see that my all elements are in R. So it is real valued, finite and non-negative. I taken this modulus, so it is non-negative, also finite and also real valued, right? So second property is dxy is 0 if and only if x is equal to y. So for that, dxy is 0 if and only if I have to prove that x is equal to y. So if and only if I am using the definition of metric. So here I have defined dxy like modulus of x minus y is equal to 0. But if and only if this possible when my x minus y is 0. So this implies, or if and only if x is equal to y. So second property proved that dxy is 0 if and only if x is equal to y. My third property is dxy is equal to dyx, but dxy is equal to modulus of x minus y. So I can write it as modulus of y minus x by the property of modulus. So you can write it as dyx, right? So here we have proved that dxy is equal to dyx. So third property proved. Next, left with fourth property, that is triangular inequality. So for that we have to prove that dxy is less than or equal to dxz plus dzy. So for that, first I have taken dxy is equal to modulus of x minus y. Here I am adding plus minus z and plus z. See, x minus z plus z minus y, right? Minus z plus z get cancels and we get x minus y. So again I am using a property of modulus that can less than or equal to modulus of x minus z plus modulus of z minus y. So this is the definition of dxz plus dzy. So here is all about triangular inequality, fourth inequality, that is dxy which is less than or equal to dxz plus dzy. Next, the Euclidean space R2 is also one of example of metric space, and with metric here you can see metric dxy is equal to square root of x1 minus x2 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square. So what is Euclidean plane R2? So the metric space R2 called the Euclidean plane is obtained if we take the set of ordered pairs of real numbers written as in ordered pair, like x is equal to x1 comma x2 and y is equal to y1 comma y2, and I am defining Euclidean metric as dxy is equal to square root of x1 minus x2 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square. So here we are also prove that is R2 with this metric D is metric space. So next example of metric space is three-dimensional Euclidean space R3. This metric space consists of the set of ordered triples of real numbers written as x is equal to x1 comma x2 comma x3 and y is equal to y1 comma y2 comma y3 and so on. and the Euclidean matrix defined by dxy is equal to square root of x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square plus x3 minus y3 whole square. Here you can also saw that is R3, and with this matrix D is matrix space, right? So next example of matrix space is Euclidean space Rn. The previous examples are special case of n-dimensional Euclidean space Rn. If I am putting n is equal to 1, that becomes real line R. N equal to 2, that become Euclidean plane R2, and if I am putting n equal to 3, it become Euclidean space R3, and now this is Rn. So this space is obtained if we take the set of all ordered n tuples of real numbers written as x is equal to x1 comma x2 comma so on xn, and y is equal to y1 comma y2 comma so on yn, and the Euclidean matrix defined by d of xy is equal to square root of x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square plus so on plus xn minus yn whole square. Next example is unitary space Cn. Here C stands for complex numbers and complex plane C. If in Cn you take n equal to 1, is complex plane C. So n-dimensional unitary space Cn is a space of all ordered n tuples of complex number with matrix defined by dx of xy is equal to square root of x1 minus y1 whole square plus modulus of x2 minus y2 whole square plus so on plus modulus of xn minus yn whole square. And Cn is sometimes called as complex Euclidean n space. Next, we are going to prove that R2 with matrix D is matrix space. Here you have matrix D as square root of x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square, where my pair x1 and x2 and y1 y2 belonging to R2. So we have to prove that this space R2 with this matrix D is matrix space. So for that we have to prove 4 properties. So first property is whatever my matrix D is real valued, non-negative and finite. So here obviously my D is real valued because the set is R2, and I take element x1, x2, y1, y2 belonging to R. So R is real line and have contained real numbers. So it is real valued and non-negative because matrix D defined as a square root of this terms and also finite. Next property is to prove dxy is equal to 0 if and only if x is equal to y. So for that, let 2 points belonging to into R2, that is x and y. So x as x1 comma x2 and y as y1 comma y2. So first let dxy is equal to 0. So if and only if put x is equal to x1 comma x2 and put y is equal to y1 comma y2 is equal to 0. Use the definition of matrix, that is dxy is equal to square root of x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square is 0. When I am squaring both these sides, term become x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square is equal to 0. When I am saying that 2 squared number, when I am adding this 2 squared number is 0. So all squared number are each 0. So I am telling that squared number are 0. So here you can see that x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square 0 will imply that x1 minus y1 0 and x2 minus y2 is 0. So if these two number are 0, then only then my square of these two numbers and then I'm adding is 0. So next x1 minus y1 is equal to 0 will imply that x1 is equal to y1, and x2 minus y2 is 0 will imply that x2 is equal to y2. So for that x is equal to y, because my x is x1 comma x2, but x1 and y1 are same and x2 and y2 are same, so we can say that x is equal to y. Third property is to prove dxy is equal to dyx, symmetric property. So for that let x is equal to x1 comma x2 and y is equal to y1 comma y2 in R2. So first let dxy is equal to put x and y, that is x1 comma x2 and y1 comma y2. Use the definition of matrix D, which is square root of x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square. Now I can write that y1 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus x2 whole square, because square is there is not difference in between two terms, right? So you can write it as d of y and x. This is the definition of metric. So third property is prove, and left with fourth property, that is to prove d of xy which is less than or equal to dxz plus dzy. So for that we required 3 points in R2. So I let x is equal to x1 comma x2, y is equal to y1 comma y2, and z is equal to z1 comma z2 belonging to R2. Now take x1 minus z1 as a1 and x2 minus z2 as a2, and also z1 minus y1 as b1 and z2 minus y2 as b2. Right. First I am going to write d of xy. So d of xy, x y, and definition is square root of x1 minus y1, but see, a1 is equal to x1 minus z1 and b1 is equal to z1 minus y1. So I want x1 minus y1. I can write it as a1 plus b1. So a1 plus b1, z1 minus z1 get cancels and we get x1 minus y1. So instead of x1 minus y1, I can write a1 plus b1. Right. Same as next term is x2 minus y2 whole square. So if I am adding a2 and b2, it means a2 plus b2. So a2 is x2 minus z2 plus z2 minus y2. So z2 plus and minus z2 get cancels and get x2 minus y2. So instead of x2 minus y2, I can write it as a2 plus b2. So dxy is equal to square root of a1 plus b1 whole square plus a2 plus b2 whole square. If I'm write it as in terms of summation, so it can be written as summation over k equal to 1 to 2 in bracket ak plus bk whole square whole to the power 1 half. Right, if I am putting k equal to 1, get one term, and plus k equal to 2, get second term. So similarly, I process for dxz. So what is the definition? As dxz is equal to square root of x1 minus z1 whole square. So plus x2 minus z2 whole square. But I let that x1 minus z1 is equal to a1. So instead of x1 minus z1, I can write it as a1. So x1 minus z1 whole square is equal to a1 square, and x2 minus z2 whole square is equal to a2 whole square. So dxz is equal to a1 square plus a2 square whole to the power 1 half. And if we have writing in summation, so summation over k equal to 1 to 2 a k square whole to the power 1 half. Similarly for dzy, right? Definition of dzy is what? Square root of z1 minus y1 whole square plus z2 minus y2 whole square. But z1 minus y1 is b1. So z1 minus y1 whole square is equal to b1 square, and z2 minus y2 whole square is equal to b2 square. So dzy is equal to square root of b1 square plus b2 square, and also it written in summation, will get summation over k equal to 1 to 2 bk square whole to the power 1 half. Next, to show, put dxy is equal to value, we get summation over k equal to 1 to 2 ak plus bk whole square whole to the power 1 half less than or equal to, put value of dxz. Here dxz is equal to summation over k equal to 1 to 2 ak square whole to the power 1 half and plus dzy. So put the value of dzy, that is summation over k equal to 1 to 2 bk square whole to the power 1 half. If I am squaring both the sides, so left hand side 1 half and square get cancels, and will get summation over k equal to 1 to 2 ak plus bk whole square and less than or equal to whole terms square, means this term and square. So first term in left hand side, that is squaring, means ak plus bk whole square, simplify this term, will get ak square summation over k equal to 1 to 2 ak square plus bk square. So plus summation over k equal to 1 to 2 bk square and plus 2 ak into bk. So plus summation over k equal to 1 to 2 into ak into bk and less than or equal to, again squaring this term, we get square of first term. So here is 1 half and this square get cancels and get summation over k equal to 1 to 2 ak square and plus second term of square root and square get cancels, and we get summation over k equal to 1 to 2 bk square plus 2 times of these two terms. So that is 2 times of first term into second term. So you can see that ak square get cancels, bk square get cancelled, and left this two terms. In these two terms, 2 are also cancelled. So we have summation over k equal to 1 to 2 ak into bk less than or equal to summation over k equal to 1 to 2 ak square whole to the power 1 half into summation over k equal to 1 to 2 bk square whole to the power 1 half, but which is Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. You learned in BSc Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. So this is true for Cauchy-Schwarz inequality. So this is also true for which we have shown that is summation, term summation, and also for true for dxy less than or equal to dxz plus dzy. So here hence we proved property number 4, and finally we are reached that the R2 with this matrix D, xy is equal to square root of x1 minus y1 whole square plus x2 minus y2 whole square is matrix space. Okay, next example is sequence space L infinity. It is also a matrix space with matrix which is given here, given over here. So first we are going to see that what is space L infinity, right? So if I am taking set x, but in element of x are different, that is bounded sequences of complex number. If I am taking small x belonging to capital X, so my small x is which type of element? That is x is equal to x1 comma x2 comma so on, and briefly I write it as x is equal to xi. So in short, my x is one type of sequence of complex numbers, but this sequence of complex number is bounded. So L infinity is a space of sequence space L infinity. Why we said that sequence space L infinity? Because in L infinity the elements are sequence, right? But which type of sequence? It is sequence of complex number, and also it is bounded. Again, I am taking one element from L infinity. Suppose small x. So small x is which type of element? How can I write? So it is x1 comma x2 comma x3 comma so on, and in short I write it as x is equal to xi, where my I is running from 1 to up to so on, and this sequence is bounded. So here we have x is equal to modulus of xi less than or equal to cx, where cx is real number which may depend on x but does not depend on I. C, modulus of xi less than or equal to cx. What shows that? It shows that my sequence is bounded. This is the definition of bounded sequence, which we have learnt in BSc semester I think 3 or 4. So this is the definition of bounded sequence, and if I am defined matrix as dxy is equal to supremum of modulus of xi minus eta I, where my I is in natural set of natural number. So xi is what? If I am taking small x into L infinity, so small x is type of xi, right, is first element, and eta I is what? If I am saying y is equal to eta I, right, eta I is also a element of space L infinity. So I am taking two element from space L infinity, that is xi, and another is eta I. So my xi is bounded sequence of complex numbers, and eta I is also bounded sequence of complex number. So how I can define metric on this space L infinity, that is dxy is equal to supremum of these two sequences, right? Here SUP denotes the supremum. Thus the metric space obtained generally denoted by L infinity, and here L infinity is a sequence space because each element of this space are sequence. Okay, so in next lecture we are going to learn more space like this. Okay, thank you.